I do these every week, every Thursday to help anybody that needs with sales for the Go High Level Mastery ecosystem. We teach everything here from sales to fulfillment to really anything related to Go High Level. A lot of people are selling AI chatbots. You guys are picking niches. Some people are struggling, trying to get clients, trying to get monthly recurring revenue. The purpose of this call is to literally get you in the right spot to be selling this, to be making an income from it, and we can help you. And this is just a live, free Thursday night call. So I don't go into these calls with an agenda. What I like to do is just kind of ask you guys what it is that you are having problems or struggles with, particularly in sales when it comes to selling Go High Level, when it comes to getting clients and things like that. So this is open to you guys. It works by, you kind of get what you put into it, because I could probably talk for days on this stuff. Yeah, if you guys want, feel free to just take yourself off the microphone or off mute and just ask whatever questions you might have. Um, to give a little bit of background on me, I have 15 years of corporate sales experience. I've been selling all kinds of all kinds of different things, from medical devices to marketing platforms to Go High Level CRM, SaaS software. And so I bring that expertise to you guys. Um, and then we do have a program where I can get on your sales calls with you and close deals. So yeah, I mean, let's just open it up. So yeah, tell me what you guys got going on, maybe a little bit about yourselves too.
Uh, um, I'll take it for starters. So I have a background in software engineering, and that's what I actively do. I build software for electric vehicles, charging platforms. But I recently stumbled on Go High Level, and I'm looking at um using Go High Level as a way to build my tech consulting business, which I just started. And um I'm completely new to Go High Level, literally just going through videos, learning stuff to understand the platform in itself. I have an agency account. My wife also recently started a business, so I'm using her as a guinea pig. So literally setting up everything for her business in terms of automations, funnels, pipelines for her stuff, all her products and whatnot. But I'm really here to learn more about how to position um Go High Level, as a product, because I know there's the agency option where you can basically resell Go High Level either from a white labeled version or as Go High Level itself. But I really don't have any clear pathway on how to go about doing that, because predominantly, even when I ran a tech consulting business in the past, it was made predominantly offering software development services to customers. So
Okay. Okay.
this is sort of relatively new for me.
Okay. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go kind of around. Matt, if you want to jump through and tell me what you're doing, that way I can answer both your questions probably at the same time, and then we can just kind of start a discussion from there of like the how tos and whatnot like that.
Yeah. Awesome, man. I've been kind of in the game for a while. I was actually one of the earlier adopters of high level and all that. And I was in Adam and Brandon's group like way back when through Get Shit Done and all of
Yeah.
that. So my my strength is more in the back end and the tech side of things. And I've had a few different iterations, different agencies with partners, and that always has worked better for me as far as like not handling the sales myself. I mean, I've closed some deals, but it's just I'm the classic introvert geek, that hides behind the computer. So, um, but that said, every partnership has failed me. I've had partners that have embezzled. I've just had partners, shit's just falling apart every time. And it's always like, man, like, why am I, relying on other people? So it's like I go back and forth between like power and numbers and partnerships and, and all that kind of stuff. And I do see that, like even Brandon and Adam, like partnerships when they work, like, it can go gangbusters, but I've not had that experience myself. So I keep coming back around to like, well, I guess I need to be the captain of my own ship here and, close the deals and fulfill the deals and do it all. Um, the other thing is because I've been around so long, I've been in like over a dozen different verticals, different niches, and pretty comfortable with all of them. There's some that I like had no interest in being in, but it does make me have like I can't seem to make a decision of like, okay, I'm just gonna go after this niche. Like, like everyone says, every niche sucks, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's kind of my long and short story.
Okay. How are you? You've been doing this for a long time. Do you have a bunch of clients too, and you have a bunch of people that you're servicing or selling to? Are you actively going out and getting clients?
Yeah, and I'm back to square one again. I have a handful of clients, literally, and then I have two agencies that I white label fulfill for them. Mainly media buying, like I can run Facebook ads and Google ads and all that kind of stuff, but um so that's also the thing where like I'm kept sometimes too busy with fulfilling and taking care of stuff for these other clients.
Yeah.
My own clients are pretty low maintenance actually, and I've got a couple people just on SaaS, in high level that is like almost no maintenance at this point. But but I definitely want to, double or triple where I'm at. If I'm flying solo and if I'm partnering, like I'd build a whole team again. Is just, again,
A lot of work.
pros and cons and a lot of work and all of that. Um, so
Okay. I'm gonna share my screen. I was showing somebody this the other day, and correct me if I'm wrong, but do you feel like you're kind of in this spot where it's like you have to sell, then you fulfill it, and then you're like delivering and training or support or whatever it is, and then you have to restart this process so it becomes kind of like a job. Well, it's like a glorified job where you're spending all kinds of time, energy, and money right here to go through this circle. Does this represent kind of like what you're doing?
yeah, I mean to a degree. I mean, I've got the fulfillment locked down pretty good. I think what keeps me in that loop a little bit is going after too many different fulfilling for too many different verticals, is one of the big things. And then the other thing is like, I'm not budgeting myself for running ads, so my, client acquisition strategy just, like, blows, you know?
Okay.
Um, so just having at bats, I don't have nearly enough at bats. But then if I had enough at bats, I don't necessarily right now have the time to take them all. So it's kind of
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. So basically, with Benga is along the lines of positioning yourself to get clients. I would say, Matt, yours kind of is like we'll call it prospecting and setting up a pipeline of people coming through, whether that's picking a niche or just picking like a product, like productizing, go high level because you have everything else figured out. Oh, I think this is Selma. Selma, this is you're under the name owner, right? Okay. Ah, see, this is very Mexican. I know you're from Mexico if you're doing this. I live in Mexico, so I've been here last month was 6 years. And this right here, just to give everybody a background, there's an old TV show, and I forget his name, but Selma can tell me, where he did this, and the whole country, yeah, the whole country. This means like, yeah, like you're right, or I don't know. In English, we don't use this, but it's like, yeah. That's what this means.
We're funny.
So, um, are you just recently joined, right? And so you're out there doing sales and prospecting as well?
Well, I texted you, remember that I just joined the other group, but I'm trying to be with you guys. So I'm following you until I can get appointed to work with you also. So, anyways.
Cool. And Kenzel, you're crushing it, dude. I'm so happy for you. Like, I don't want to beat a dead horse and keep going around in circles. I'm gonna explain to Benga and Matt kind of what we're doing so that they can get in position to bring in on clients. So I know what you're doing. If you want, I don't know, tell me how this week went.
Oh no, yeah, I'm good. I just pop in. Just you always drop gems, and it's harder for me to listen on Facebook because I'll get sidetracked and then try to sell to somebody else. So I need to be in the Zoom. So yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Okay. And Antoine, I know what you're up to. I mean, you can share with anybody here, but you're basically running Facebook ads to acquire, clients and customers.
Yep.
So Matt might be a good person to network with, if he knows how to do that stuff too. Well, he hates partners actually. Don't he doesn't want to work with you. Uh, so well, cool. I'm gonna kind of start back a little bit, and I'll send you guys some things to go through and watch. But your guys' question is the questions that pop up a lot is how do I position myself, what niches, and how do I like go out and find these clients? And I started with this a long time ago. I think it's going on 2 years now, maybe, with Adam and Brendan in Go High Level Mastery. Um, and I was super like, I don't know. I guess I had a bad taste in my mouth from somebody that ripped me off, and I joined, and Adam will joke like, "Oh, Nick's our favorite story," because I told him I'm only going to be here for like 2 weeks and I'm done because I don't believe anything that you guys are doing. And here I am on Thursday nights teaching people sales for Go High Level Mastery, right? And I love it. And so, um, what happened is like I have all of this, I guess, experience and sales under my belt that when I got into Go High Level, I was stuck listening to everybody on YouTube and like what Benga said is I can go and sell this for, you know, $100 a month and get a bunch of affiliates and this, that, and the other thing. But that's a lot of work, one. And two, it doesn't really it's just a churn and burn because someone's not going to be able to figure out Go High Level. They're going to spend $100 and then they're going to leave. And then all of a sudden now you got to go and get a new affiliate. I see some of these guys in the group in the Go High Level official group are doing something like, $40,000 a month in affiliates. That's cool. That's good for them. It's just, that's a whole business. They make it look easy. It's not that easy. Right. So when I broke things down, and I'll send you guys this video, the method that we teach is called the McDonald's method. And maybe you guys have seen that, but I can give you kind of a quick overview of what that is. McDonald's is not a restaurant company. McDonald's is a real estate company, the same way that our agencies that we all are running, we're not necessarily a Go High Level automations agency. And what I found that works the best, just like McDonald's just happens to sell hamburgers and French fries at their real estate company at each location, we are a consultant that just so happens to be able to fulfill what it is that they need when that comes to like pipelines, workflows, and automations and all of that stuff. So what that looks like is I go out and I have conversations with any niche because Mike, you said it earlier or Matt, you said it earlier is like something like every niche sucks or something. And they do because if you pick a niche to me, and other people will tell you differently probably, is like to me, it feels as if you're trying to basically pick a needle in a haystack within a group of people and segment and find who these people are. And then all of a sudden, every time you talk to somebody, they're like, no, we tried that, it didn't work, or whatever. They got burned prior. So now you're spent like trying to convince them that they need your services. And during that entire process, you come across as very salesy, like a cheap car salesman, like, oh yeah, we can run ads and we can do this and we can do that and we can automate it. We'll have AI in there. And without asking questions, they probably already have had someone try to do this for them because those people are in that guy's course. They're watching, YouTube videos, and they sold it to them wrong and they got burned. And so I positioned this where it's like, well, we position this where it's like we get paid up front before any work happens, and we allow the client to pick what it is that they want built so that we become the consultant and they want to buy and they're never being sold to. And so how we do that is we just go and we find, I'm going to share my screen here. I got to open up the Google Drive thing. We build what we call an automated operations framework. And that looks like this. So if you don't have this folder, I can put this in the chat here. Desktop, share. You guys may or may not have seen this before, but we have what we call an automated operations framework, right? And so we go out and we sell this document for $500 or $100 or $97 or whatever it is that you want to sell it for. And it basically gets their goals, their outcomes, and then shows them how this is all going to be built. Okay, so Benga, you were asking like, how do you position yourself as this? This is the way to position yourself. And what this allows you to do, you know what? I have some sales phone calls. If you guys stay here until the end of this, I'll look at the list of all the people that were in here. I'll send you like one or two of my sales calls so you can see the first call that I've done to get them into this sales process. Because the conversation, I promise you, if you haven't done it this way, is completely different. And there's no one out there other than us, here at Go High Level Mastery explaining and teaching this because it works. I mean, actually, Kenzel sold, I think, 2 of these last week. Like everybody's selling these because the conversation is so easy, and it's so easy that it becomes logical, and it's like a no-brainer offer to the client that you're talking to because 1, they've never seen this before. 2, it gives them the option to get out, meaning they're not being sold to. They get to choose. And 3, it's organized and it just makes logical sense for them to do this. So I guess I'm just showing you this document, but you don't understand what this is. Have you guys ever seen this before? Anybody? I mean, I know Kenzo and who I can't see who's in this group in here anymore because I'm sharing my screen, but
No, I haven't.
okay. So what this is I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because I can't see everybody, but let me put this I'll put this link in here to share this with you guys so you guys can take a look at it. But let me stop sharing my screen. If you want, you can get a copy of this and I'll put this in the group right here. To everyone. So if you don't have this folder, I've been updating this folder, just the background real quick. I've been updating this folder kind of like maybe once or twice a week. I put these videos in there. I put anything that I'm working on inside here in some of the other folders. And so what this looks like is your conversation is going to not a niche, but just anyone and asking them a simple question of like, what do you have going on in your business? and they speak with you for, 10, 15 minutes, and you listen to their problems. And so this works for any niche. And on that first phone call, you basically just close them on a, wow, that's amazing. It sounds like you have a lot going on. Everything is in your head. It might not feel super organized. What I do, and this is that McDonald's thing of being a real estate company, you're the consultant that just so happens to be able to sell the French fries and the burgers, where you just happen to be able to fulfill what it is that they need, right? And so you go through to these meetings and you just close them on, well, in order to get this going, whether we work together or not, we have to organize what I call an AOF document. And this document allows you to take everything from your head, Mr. Client, and everybody else's head that you're working with and whatnot, is like, we got to get it organized. And so when that happens, you now get to see what it is that you want to build or what needs to be built for your company based on like a customer journey, right? So if it's a roofing company, it's like, okay, they find you on Google, and then these become your pipeline stages and your workflows, right? So it's like, they found you on Google, they get a quote, you have to send somebody out to the house to go measure the roof and see what kind of shingles they want. And then you come back and then the person has to follow up with them, do you want to buy the roof, this, that, the other thing. They go through the procurement stage. So like you build out that just so that they can get it from their head on paper, and they pay $500 for it. And that's it. And at that point, your business now becomes, if you're selling 10 of them per month, you have a $5,000 a month business just by spending 45 minutes on a phone call to organize it. And out of those 10, this is where you're selling the burgers and the fries. Out of those 10, we know that minimum, at least one is going to buy a high ticket build. And usually these builds, depending on, how you do it, is minimum like $10,000, $8,000, up to $25,000, $30,000, whatever it is that they need. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You're creating the SOP that transfers through to your fulfillment team, which we do here at Go High Level Mastery. And you're getting everything organized for them so that they now can make a decision based off what it is that they need. But you've also got this person into a buying cycle because they spent money on this, and they're in this, yes, oh yeah, I see how this could work. Oh, I see what this is, because they're the ones that told you. So you don't have to go and try to sell to them like, oh, we could do missed call text back and we could do this, and they don't understand this stuff. And so that's where this stuff really takes a turn in your business. It did it for me. It's doing it for Kenzel. I don't know. We're teaching this method that's been working, and everybody's texted me this week like, dude, I sold 3 of these, and they're making $1,500 before they've even done anything with Go High Level. And so when you do it that way, you set yourself up for success, and you're kind of covering your ass and saving yourself, because they can't come back and say, well, I thought this was going to be built. Where do you think that was going to be built? It's documented right here. You signed the paperwork, and we have everything here. This is like, everybody's on the same page. And so that's the secret to positioning yourself as I would call it a consultant. And so, as they move through that process or on that first call, I typically tell them like, look, the best thing about this is you get to decide whether or not we work together. There's not if you're working with someone else to build your go high level or build your automations, and they're giving you a price without this document, I'd be a little weary as to what they're able to do and what's going to be built and where they came up with a price. Because how could they come up with a price and give it to you without them knowing what it is that needs built, right? Or if they're working with a company that has, and maybe you guys have thought about this, is like, a tier 1 package, a tier 2 package, and a tier 3 package. You're now making them conform to them fitting, the square peg into a round hole. And what happens there is you also have a higher churn rate later on down the road. So your customers might only stay for 3 or 4 months, and now you have to keep finding new customers because the solution that you did, which is a snapshot, right? Technically, like everybody that gets into Go High Level is like, oh, I just need to get this snapshot for this, and then I'm gonna go sell it for thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, like everybody's telling me to do on YouTube, right? Well, this is how we can sell a snapshot for $10,000 because that snapshot might just be one little section of the custom build, but you're allowing the client to tell you what it is that they need built. Like, for instance, like I'm sure, well, we have webinar snapshots, right? If one of your clients is an online coach, you could just come to Go High Level Mastery and buy the webinar snapshot and include that in this little section of your pipeline stages and then build all the rest of the stuff around it, right? Instead of just, hey, here's your webinar snapshot. It's $97 a month, right? So now you're increasing the prices. So that's kind of the thing. Inside that folder, in those folders, I have like an 18, 20-minute video explaining this a little bit more in depth of how to sell this document. But this is kind of the crux of having a successful agency, because you're only spending 45 minutes up front being paid, $500, whatever you charge for it, $97 to build this document, $200, $500, $750, $1,000, whatever you want to sell it for. And you just know that my only goal for this month is to get 10 people on a call because I'm going to make $5,000, right? I'm going to make $5,000 if I'm selling it for $500, and you're doing half the work. And then let the client decide whether or not they want to work with you. So Matt, you have a fulfillment team already. Some people don't. So here at Go High Level Mastery, we have that whole entire fulfillment team that's available to you, that you now can dish off the entire build to a team of 17 people that, we've been doing this. Me personally, I've been doing this about 2 years, but Adam and Brendan, I would say about 5 years. Collectively, probably 10 or 15 years, experience. And so everything is super organized. So Matt, where you were saying like it's a little overwhelming, where you got to do the sales, you got to do the prospecting, you got to do the fulfillment, you got to build the team, you got to do that. There's no way you could do this yourself. And that's why I had that little like parabola. It was straight lines. It wasn't a curve because I can't figure out how to do the curve line on there. But that's basically, how you take control of your business while generating an income for, I wouldn't say that like $500 is going to make you rich unless you got really good at running ads, Matt. Like that could be a really good strategy if you start running ads to, hey, let's get yourself organized, throw out a clear blanket approach of like whatever the targeting is on the ads, see what hits, and then you can niche down, right? And then now your thing is just having meetings with people that are paying $500 or whatever your cost of acquisition is, or your ROI on, or like however much it costs to get a lead. I mean, you just run it that way. And then now you know that you have 1 out of 10 going to buy a high ticket item. Instead of trying to find that one guy for a high ticket item, you might as well make some money over here first, right? And then the cool part is, Benga, I mean, you understand this stuff, you understand how to build this stuff, but the selling part, if you know how to build it, but you don't know how to sell it, and it just sits in the computer on the cloud, and it's like, I built this really cool thing, but I don't know who to sell it to. The cool thing on the other side is now you start to make your monthly reoccurring revenue if you sell it as like a licensed, platform, using Go High Level. So that's really the shift that we have started to take, and other people in this group, to just basically take back control of your business and then also make money from it. And it qualifies the leads, right? Because they're paying $500 up front. If the person that you spoke with doesn't pay the $500, I promise you, you just saved like a whole 3 weeks of back and forth. I'm not interested. Oh, are we just following up? Like, you'd never even have to send them a text message or an email. Hey, I'm just following up, because they paid you. So they're incentivized to come back on the phone calls, right? And you're viewed as like a, almost like a partner in their company, not like a salesperson. Like, oh yeah, this guy, I'm working with, they're excited to talk about you. Like, no, this guy fully understands my business. Everything is working and good and great. So that's kind of like the I guess Cliff's Notes version of it. But if anybody has, I see some other people came in here, Brian, Harvey, Jamie, Luis, Todd. If anybody has any questions specifically around sales or what you guys got going on or what you need help with, if I didn't answer Matt and Benga's questions, like I can expand that. You guys have my time for, probably another hour if we need it. I was telling everybody that I don't come into these meetings with an agenda. It's really, you guys are the ones that drive this call.
Me, Nick, how's it going? Oh,
Good, man. How are you?
with ours, you want to go ahead and do that?
No, go ahead.
I was gonna dive into some Upwork.
Yeah, let's do it.
There, is that okay?
Of course.
I remember connecting with you. Gosh, I think it was at the beginning of the year, maybe February.
Yep.
And I don't know if you remember me or not, but
I do.
cool. So I've been kind of at a point now where I'm ready to really dive in. I created a pretty nice agency looking profile recently, created a new corporation, things of that, yada yada. So I'm heading in that right direction, and I really love your approach to all this, how it's done. It's very unique. It's very different than anyone else teaches out there, and I've always been fascinated with it. So I'm at the stage right now where I really, and I've seen, I'm a part of your membership. I've bought into certain memberships in the past. So I've studied a lot of your training, and the Upwork. I was kind of just wanted to, maybe you could just go over some of the high points on how that's working and how that bidding works, and some of how you present, like right away, how you connect them with those guys. I mean, do you have anything else new on that topic that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I could. Let me log in and share. Excuse me, share my screen. Why don't I find somebody that I started working with just a couple weeks ago. We'll do.
I kind of find that I really like the Upwork approach the most, because you are staring at someone asking for help with something that you can actually provide for, and it's just a matter of convincing them that you're the right man for the job, right? Yes, all of the other guys coming at them, as opposed to buying ads and just kind of doing the whole Facebook. You're burning money real fast, with ads until everything gets dialed in. It's very hit and miss. I'm very, very familiar with that end of it. But the more I've been thinking about it over the last few weeks, that I really want to get good at the Upwork approach.
Okay, let me see.
Does everybody agree with that? I mean, you guys tried to run.
I don't know if everybody knows about this approach either. So I'll back up, because someone asked, like Harvey said, how are you positioning this $500 build plan? This is going to answer that question. Although I'm just going to show you inside Upwork. But you're right. You're finding with Upwork, you're finding the right people, because they already know they have a problem and they have a budget, and they listed their job on basically this job board. So it's just sitting there. Not the problem, but the competition is everybody else is trying to get this job, right? And so you have to stick out. So there's a couple things that go into it. It's like, who can send the proposal the quickest? And then how do you set yourself apart from everybody else that's applying to these jobs, right? Upwork, the way they make money is they sell these little things called connects. They're like little coins, but it's like it's basically just, you know, each time you submit a proposal, it costs X amount of I don't know how they come up with the numbers, but each connect is worth like 15 cents. And so a job proposal, I'll show you. I'm just going to share my screen much. So each one of these little connects, like if I click on find work, like here's one like, Benga, this one would be for you, right? One, I never pay attention to this or this. Like, this is how much they would pay. They're going to pay $15 to $35 and they've only spent $300. I do pay attention to this because this decides of like what time zone they're in. I would never work on this because New Zealand, it's probably like, I don't know, that's 7:40 my time right now. So it's probably like 3 in the morning. It would be really hard to connect with this person. This says $25 to $45. They haven't spent any money in the US. Like, I'm looking for someone to help me set up work clothes and manage my go high level. I think this is supposed to be work flows, not work clothes. Um, so like this person spent 1,000, right? So I would just click on this, and based off of this, I think that this is probably someone that probably doesn't have a huge budget, just based off they said work clothes, not workflows. But they've had 31 jobs, they've hired 17, right? So my point about this was this cost 11 connects to apply to it, right? And so you come down here and I would click apply now, and then I would come through, and if this works, I can see at the bottom that other people have bid on this. So in order to do this, it cost 11 connects, which 11 times 15 cents. It cost me $1.65 to bid on that. But if I want to compete against the first person in place, it would be 14. So now this is where what's it called? 14 times 15 cents. It went from $1.65 to $2.11 to outbid this person. Okay, so that's they kind of created it as a game, just like an auction. That's how Upwork makes their money, because you buy these connects, and then like I have 133 connects, so I don't know, whatever that is times 15 cents. So that's how I can bid on this. Okay, so you come through here and basically you're just bidding on this job. Now, what I typically do is I think a lot of people, based off just doing this a lot, like I literally could put $10 an hour right here. Okay. This price doesn't matter because what I'm doing is I'm just selling the AOF document. That's it. So what I found is when I lower this price, it gets people's attention because they think that they're going to, you know, get this amazing guy for $10 an hour. It's kind of a little bit of marketing throughout the platform. So I come through here and, you know, I'll say like, you know, how often is my rate going to increase? I'm only doing a one-time thing. Okay. I write my cover letter. This, I usually take something here. If I were to apply to this, I would make a joke and I'd be like, hey, yeah, I could definitely help you with your work clothes. Do we want to put a nice logo on it? And then I would say something like, haha, I'm just kidding. I think maybe you did text to speech or the autocorrect messed it up. I know you're talking about workflows. Like I would try to make something funny there just because probably no one else is, or maybe they are, right? This doesn't have a lot of detail here. And I wouldn't spend $2 applying to this because it just seems like this guy was like, oh yeah, someone told me about Upwork and I'll just put it on there, and he's probably never going to check it. Like you want to look for someone that has like, you know, I don't know, some sort of like this is featured, you know, that this person paid for their job to be posted here. So they have skin in the game, even though they spent $0. I don't know what this is, head of appointment setting and lead generation. Like I wouldn't, well, maybe I could apply for that, but that would be like a job. But like this one in Australia, I wouldn't apply for this just because of the time difference, but we'll pretend like this is somewhere here. These guys actually wrote a nice thing. So set up automations, campaigns, triggers, build sales pipelines. They probably use ChatGPT because this is usually what ChatGPT spits out with the emojis, right? So proven go high level experience, CRM, strong project management. So Todd, here is where I would go and I would click apply now. And I go in here and I would just do it by project. And I would just put $10 because that's what they're looking for. But that doesn't mean that we can't get the job. They want an expert for $10 an hour. They're not going to get it. They probably just put a number in there and, you know, everybody is going to be applying to this. Actually, no one's applied to it, which is funny. I think just because tomorrow's the 4th of July, it's a holiday in the US, there's not a lot of people applying for this. But long story short is I would look here and this is where I try to separate myself. So I'd give like an intro, right? The intro would be something like, hey, I saw that you're looking for, you know, a Go High Level expert. I don't know if you've ever worked with someone from Go High Level, but I'm going to attach this document and I'll attach this document and I'll explain this document. And I will say, look, I work with a lot of companies and in order to do this, I know there's a lot of other people that are applying for this. And if they're not coming to you with something that they're going to build before they even get organized, I'd be a little hesitant to work with them. And I kind of like shed a little, like kind of throw the other people applying under the bus a little bit to make myself seen as the expert just to get a meeting. And I say like, yeah, everybody can do this. This isn't really that hard. But the problem is you want to make sure that whoever you're going to hire sets this up properly. And what that looks like is if you spent a bunch of money on a Go High Level build and then 4 months later, things don't work out with you with that expert that you're looking to hire, and they didn't build everything properly inside your Go High Level account, and what proper looks like is a proper nomenclature, a proper structure like this document where you have everything in folders, where everything it corresponds from the pipeline to the workflow stages, that anybody in the future could go back and look at this document and see, oh, this is where we need to change this. This is what we're doing, right? Now you just took them from them thinking that they need a Go High Level expert and all the other experts are coming in like, oh yeah, I can build, you know, I can totally build a sales pipeline and an onboarding sequence and tagging workflows. We have, you know, snapshots for that, right? Because everybody else doesn't sell high ticket builds. They're literally excited to work for $10 an hour. And so you position yourself through the response here of, and here's something that I would do too is like a lot of my, and I would say like a lot of my clients think that we need to use Zapier and I'll make something up like, because I'm just trying to get a meeting. I'm not trying to sell them anything. The meeting is the selling point is I'd say something like, yeah, Zapier is great, but what we do is we'd rather want API connections because God forbid, like your Zapier account got suspended or the credit card attached to Zapier was declined. And we don't want your business to be, you know, like ruined for a couple of hours if you're spending money on ads. But I play this dumb role of like, I don't really know what you got going on. So we're going to still have to set up a meeting. Like it kind of, you kind of like play a little dumb. Does that make sense? Sorry, I'm letting other people in here because I did not know. Ah, shit. Santosh, if you're watching on Facebook, I just rejected you. I'm sorry. And so I kind of like play this dumb role of I don't really know what it is that you need. That's why we have to get on a call, right? And then there we go, Santosh. Sorry about that. Santosh, sorry that I didn't let you in. So I play this like dumb role of, I don't really know what it is that you want. Yeah, we can do this. I don't know why you'd want Zapier because that sounds like it could be a problem. Everybody else is telling them, yeah, Zapier, I'm Zapier certified and this, that, and the other thing because they're trying to sell them something. So I just go through and say that. Maybe I should have probably like wrote it out, but are you guys following along? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yes. Okay. So now, and I do this a couple ways. I do this in YouTube comments, right? So I'll go to like YouTube and I'll type in like this is a little bit harder, but it does work. I've done it a couple of times. So I'll type in like best CRM software. We're typing in buying keywords, right? So like for and you can ask ChatGPT to come up with buying keywords. It'll give you all kinds of variations. You want to see what people are searching for. So like this is for real estate, right? Best CRM software for, I guess, is what people are looking for in Hindi, in India, in real estate. So like I'd come to real estate and then I'd go and look and I would try to find the one with the most views, right? So this is 35,000 views. This is 4 months ago with 131 views. I click on this. I'm going to pause this before it plays. And I'd come down here and I'd look for the comments. This one doesn't have any comments, but excuse me. You want to come through and you want to see like comments that are, because this is literally real estate. Like none of them are free, bro. So you'd find this person. I mean, he's complaining about price, so he probably wouldn't be a good person. You want to like these are 3 years ago. If they watched this 3 years ago, then they probably already have a CRM. But you want to find videos where like within a month or a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, people are commenting like, "Well, I'm trying to figure out if I should use Go High Level or Pipe Drive." Like they're in a buying situation. They're just looking for someone to tell them that you should use this because of this reason, and you can be that person. So you just click on their name and you go to their channel. Usually the people that are doing this, you could probably Google this guy and you could find his LinkedIn picture and it's going to be the same thing. And you could message him. It might come across a little creepy, but you're just like, hey, I saw your comment on this YouTube video for the best CRM software for, a tinting company. I just got my windows tinted the other day, right? So like best CRM software 2025, right? This has 65,000 views. You've come through. I don't know if you can sort, maybe you can sort this by newest. Here we go. 3 days ago. 3 days ago. Just had to drop a comment after using filter bounce. Oh, these guys are actually they're telling people in the comments to go check out filter bounce. So these are like bots that are marketing for people.
And Nick, if you want, you can filter your research based on.
Yeah, you can
They-
also do that too. I gotta take my dog out of the room real quick. Give me 1 second. Come over here. Go. Sorry. Yeah, you can filter that too, like this. Filter by like, this month. But you'll want to go through and just ask ChatGPT of like, give me buying keywords. Like, have you ever seen those listicles online that are affiliate for Amazon products? It's like, where's the top best vegan workout, powders? And then you go to this website and it's got everything. It's like, check it out on Amazon, and you click on that button. Well, it's a affiliate link. So anybody that buys anything from there, and they just work on SEO to get them ranked in Google. It's the same type of thing. Those keywords are like, best, keywords like I call them buying keywords because it's like the keyword is showing you that they are in the situation of they're wanting to buy. If someone types in best CRM software for a roofing company, that's like they're looking to make a purchase of something, right? If they type in like comparison between Go High Level and Zoho, they're on the fence about both of those. So just ask ChatGPT, like, I need buying keywords for what I type into YouTube for this. And then you have to go through and search for it, like the comments. I bet there's a way that you could probably build a bot or build like a Google, like what is it called? Like they have like Google News uh alerts. Like you could probably get alerts for different videos because you might have like really one good video from, I don't know, what's that guy's name? Jason Wardrop. Like he's got a following, right? So he's like a big key opinion leader, how to make an online with no money using AI, right? This is one day ago, but find like his best video. I don't know how you can sort this out, but like find somebody in maybe this is not the best niche. You'd want to find, this is like B to B for us. You want to find like someone that has content for like B to C so that you can see the clients asking, because these would all be agency owners that are watching this stuff. These are all people like us. We're not going to sell anything to an agency owner, right? You want to find somebody that's like a car wash company where all the people that are watching it are car wash owners. Does that make sense? Does that help you, Todd? I think it was Todd that asked that question, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I went from Upwork to YouTube, but it's all the same thing. The way to respond and get them is important.
Yeah,
in-
one other, just real quick, one of the other questions I had was regarding, how sophisticated or lackluster do you make your Upwork profile in order to, like, because they're going to look at that and see your skills and I think you don't want to overkill it because like, my team can pretty much, we're versed in everything. But that's not really here or there. So, and I've read some things about, some people are saying, well, if you throw too much at that, then you're just going to confuse a person. So I'm just wondering, like, what is your approach to building out your profile on Upwork?
My secret, I went to YouTube. I typed in how to make the best Upwork profile, and I picked the one that had the most views, and it said how I made $1 million with this Upwork profile. I didn't even watch the video, and I just took the transcript of the video, put it into ChatGPT, and said, I want you to ask me the correct questions based off this video for me to make my profile the best. I didn't even watch the video, so you're the one in charge. And then it came back and said, based off this video, here's the questions I have for you. And then it just generated this whole thing. And then I'm like, are you 100% positive that this is gonna generate me, like my stuff? And I did this in April of 2020. What's it? 2020, April of 2024. And this is all it did.
Yeah, I did similar, but I didn't get a transcript from YouTube. I just, talked about, kind of,
Yeah.
it also, it was very helpful. I used Grok, but
I get a lot of people so like I've earned $9,000 from here, and how do I see public view? Like that's $9,000 from just selling the AOF document, okay? Because one thing you have to know is you can't take work off of Upwork. But if you close the business out, which I did, I sold them this. This is all they bought. They get to decide whether or not they want to work with me later on. And if I do it through Upwork's profile, it becomes, they take 10% of a $20,000 build, which that's a lot of money at that point. And so all of this $9,000 is literally just like, you can see where I started doing this, where it was like, I was charging $100 for the AOF document, then I moved it to $250, and then from $250 I moved it to $500. Like, it was that's how I started all this out. And then not everybody leaves a review, which kind of sucks, but that's $9,000 just from selling the AOF document for $150 and $250 and $500. And so I do occasionally, I'm going to show you this. I do occasionally get things where they're like, oh, you don't have enough money, or you haven't made enough money as the other people. And so these right here is like, I don't know. I think this is a good sales experience, a sales, we'll call it a case study. Is this guy on May 28th, he said, hey, I want to be super honest with you. So I sold him the AOF document. I've met with a few other guys on Upwork, and I prefer to work with you because you understand the scope of my project better than the other guy I've talked about. And I'm hesitant at $8,100. It's going to cost. I spoke with the other guy. He could do it for $4,000 instead of $8,100. And he's got really good reviews in regards to how he ran the initial meetings. I just didn't feel like he did a good job as you in understanding what I'm trying to accomplish. This right here is exactly what the AOF document does. I'm double the price, but he has this feeling of what it is that I was able to do just because I packaged the proposal. Like, the AOF document is just a proposal. I just packaged the proposal in a way that made him feel good, right? And so is there any way that we can renegotiate pricing? So I want to call this out to everybody watching this, because this is super important. This is where my sales skills come into play. And I'm just like, yo, what's up, man? I totally understand where you're coming from. You're being thoughtful about both the cost and who's the right partner for this. And I really appreciate the honesty and the kind words. That means a lot to me. So now I'm making him feel like, thanks, dude. Like, that's amazing. I appreciate you being open and vulnerable with me. What you just shared actually reminds me a lot about our best clients. So now I'm putting this, I'm not putting it on him. I'm putting it like, these are how all my best clients have operated. Almost all of them talk to other providers too. Some even get cheaper quotes, but they ended up choosing us because they realized that this wasn't about finding the cheapest option. It's more about finding someone who understands their vision and could actually deliver it right the first time. This is a company I worked with. What we built for Surf Lakes, we collected $673,000 in 10 days for them, and we were the most expensive option. I did that with the AI chatbot that we have inside Go High Level Mastery. We didn't even use Marcus. We used Core 4, which is the old one, but that's a different story. And then I ask a question. So this is my acknowledge, tell a story, and then defer it. And when you defer with another question, it changes everything and it gets the real problem. So I said, out of curiosity, what part of the 8,100 feels high to you? Is it the amount, or is it how it's broken down? Or are you just comparing it dollar for dollar to the 4K quote? And this is where the real problem came into play. He's like, well, I'm just comparing dollar for dollar. We had to just buy a new water heater. I would never have guessed he bought a new water heater, and that's what the problem was, because it went out and we've been up in our home for 3 years and we might have to buy a water softener here soon. So I'm trying to get cost conscious about everything. I just don't want to get to the end and be like, okay, where's everything set up? It wasn't what we wanted, and now I'm out $8,100. So he's just scared about being burned. So now I completely understand it. I don't know if you're reading this as I talk. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. You can pause this and watch the replay, but he's like, basically just saying, you're expensive. I have other things in my life that came up and I don't want to be burnt. That's all it really came down to. And that was just from asking these questions at the end and just deferring it. He asked me, can we negotiate the price? And I'm like, well, no, I never even said anything about negotiating. I just changed the questions of what I asked. And now I just go through it again. Totally hear you. Sounds like you got a ton on your plate. Honestly, a lot of clients I've worked with are in the exact same spot. They're comparing reviews, looking at Upwork stacks. They're trying to do this. You know, they're all people who decided to move forward after the conversation, the ones that did leave reviews. That's also why we build out the automated operations framework. It lays everything out clearly, so you're never in a spot where you feel like this isn't what I asked for. It kills what we call scope creep and gives you clarity from the start. And if we do move forward, the first week's all strategy, and then my team and I will get deeper in the details with you. And so you don't pay for the next step until you're happy with the previous one. So I just killed his whole thing. So now he's just looking at cost for cost, and he was worried about being burned, but the AOF document fixes all of that, and you're paying it out in payments. And then I re-ask another question. Just curious, if the build came out exactly how you wanted, everything was aligned and smooth, would the price still be a big hesitation, or is it more about just making sure that you don't get burned? And he's like, no, if not, and then I said, if not, I totally get it. You know, that's why we built out the automated operation. And he goes, no, the price wouldn't be wouldn't be the hesitation anymore. It's just really more about making sure I don't get burned. So I sold this deal for $8,100. And just last week, we found out that he wants $5,600 more worth of stuff. And it's another upsell. We're going to sell, $5,600 on top of it. So his whole thing had nothing to do with $8,100. Now, I don't know if this will show me, but this is a perfect example on Upwork where it's like they wanted to pay $25 an hour for something. But I never would have gotten to this point without doing the AOF document. So it gets them in. They buy $500 worth of your AOF stuff, and then they're like, checking your reviews and this and that. I don't get lost in the weeds of like, do I have the best profile? Do I have the best reviews? It's human to human, me talking to you and just going through the sales process. Like I was selling through text messaging, obviously, but I answered it in the right way to discover his pain points. He said it was the price, but really it was being burned, and he spent a bunch of money to really, he's not worried about the price. Like then I just said, if the build came out exactly how you want it, everything was aligned, would that work? Or would the price still be a problem? He's like, no, price wouldn't matter. He had the money. He just didn't know who I was from Upwork based off reviews. And actually this guy, I connected him. I said, look, I'm going to just give you a couple people to call that I've worked with. Call them. I didn't have to do that, but the second that I did, he actually called Brittany. So Brittany, who is part of Go High Level Mastery as well, she actually was one of my clients. And I spoke with Adam and Brandon. I'm like, dude, Brittany's awesome. She should come and work with us. And so I found Brittany through Upwork. She was interviewing a bunch of people, and she's like, this guy's crazy. Like, how have all this stuff so organized? Like, this is really, really good. So that's how I handle these Upwork things. I don't get lost in the weeds of like what my profile looks like, because I do it all through text. And so it's all like this. Like, I don't even think I saw this. This was from May 29th. Yeah, I just have to put this. Oh no. Oh yeah. This is where I gave him Brittany's number, right? I gave him a couple people's number, and then he ended up calling Brittany. And after that, he was like, yeah, I'm in. That's cool. But I don't collect that money through here. I collect that money through Go High Level as the build. So I fulfilled Upwork's requirements, because if I do a job outside of Upwork, I can get suspended, right? Or I can lose my account. But the job that I have posted is I'm just building an AOF document. They can't control what I do after that. Like I did do the job, right? I'm just a consultant that happens to be able to fulfill the AI or the automations or whatever. The same way that McDonald's is a real estate company that just so happens to be able to fulfill, or they just so happen to sell hamburgers and hot dogs. Not hot dogs, but hamburgers and French fries, right? So I don't know. Hopefully that that helped and helps anybody else that's watching.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That was great.
Oh, that's what I need. I need a beer. Let me scroll down. Harvey, good shit. Thank you. You're welcome, dude. Yeah, so I'm an open book. Anybody else that needs help with this. So I'll give you maybe I haven't explained this either. Like, what's my angle? Why am I doing this for free every Thursday at 7 p.m., right? Like, what am I trying to get out of this? I'm trying to teach you guys how to build a funnel. And the funnel, I'm not talking about like a 3-step funnel. I'm talking about like get people in on a AOF document to where you guys have so much work that we can partner through Go High Level Mastery to fulfill the deals, right? So I want you guys to have, you could probably do your first 1 or 2 yourself, but I want you guys to shift from being the like every single part to the bicycle, right? Like the bicycle doesn't work without 2 wheels. It doesn't work without a chain. It doesn't work without just one pedal, or it doesn't work with just one pedal. Doesn't work with brakes. Doesn't work without spokes. Like, you guys can just be the wheels, and Go High Level Mastery can be the handlebars, the brake, the spokes, the oil, I don't know, the pedals to make the everything operate in a smooth, proper way like it's supposed to. I started out to try to do all this stuff myself, and in the beginning, I was trying to sell like $2,500 setup fee, trying to build it, get it organized, spend 6 weeks doing it. Then I realized $2,500 was already spent, but I'm still working on this. And then I deliver it, and then now I got to go and find another client, and I still don't know how to do everything inside Go High Level. And it's like, man, I thought being an entrepreneur and doing this was gonna be easy, like they told me on YouTube, and make $10,000 a month just by selling Go High Level. And it's not how it works. So that's where I came up with this AOF document, is like, well, what if I just have 45-minute calls and make $5,000 in 45-minute calls? And then I can just dish this off to Go High Level Mastery. And then now my job becomes, I know that if I sold 10 for $500, I make 5,000. I'm good for the month. I live here in Mexico. It's my rent and my life. My lifestyle is literally, I just do this and I play golf, and me and my girlfriend travel every once in a while, and we go to dinner, and we live a pretty simple, chill life. Well, I know that 1 out of 10 is going to at least buy, right? So now my job becomes, how do I get it from 1 to 4 people to buy? And that's my sales skills, right? And so at that point, my job is no longer to do the fulfilling. I could care less how, to me, I don't know everybody else, but like, Venga, you might be super like excited about how, because you're a software engineer. For me, I don't really know how any software works other than like, I get it, but I don't care, right? Like, I just care about, okay, Mr. Client, you want this to operate the way that you just told me in this AOF document, and this is what we're going to do. Like, it's Adam and Brendan's job to help me build out that AOF document and be able to explain it to the client. And that's all I want to be good at, is just selling it, because I know that Adam and Brendan are going to build it out. Our team is going to get it organized and do the fulfillment. And then I just keep going and get more clients like that. And then I just pick up the back end revenue from the, what's it called? The like monthly reoccurring, licensing fee that I sell it for, right? So my angle is, if I can make you guys successful in doing this, where you guys are so overwhelmed, like, man, this is working. Like Kenzel is doing it. What's called Antoine is doing it. Who else? I mean, there's all kinds of people that are doing this in our private group. And so it's like if you guys are super successful, it's inevitable that you guys will not be able to keep up with the amount of clients that you have coming through. So I want to be top of mind so you guys join the Go High Level Mastery group and we can start fulfilling these deals together. So that's kind of like my angle. Why do I do this? I want you guys to be successful so that we can build all these things. Harvey said, what does the AOF stand for? It's really just a proposal document, but I just rebranded it and just made it and call it an automated operations framework. So that was me of like just going into Upwork and saying like, I do this as we call an automated operations framework. And they're like, oh, what's that? You know, it's legit just a proposal. You get them to pay $500 for a proposal. It's just you're not doing it for free because I did do that. And what was happening is they see the price at the end, but it takes you a long time to go through and build out that proposal. And then you come back to them and say, oh, hey, the price is $10,500 or $8,100 for this thing. And they're like, no, that's too expensive. Thanks. But then I spent, well, I didn't, but you know, everybody on our team spent 3, 5, 6 hours organizing that. And then all of a sudden we don't have the business coming in and it took us time to do it. So AOF, automated operations framework. How do you handle customer support? There is, well, it's funny you ask that because if you do this properly, customer support should not be needed because the AOF document was built the right way. And when we deliver this, when we deliver the project, there's a week that we do training. So Go High Level Mastery, whoever the project manager is on it, whether it's, you know, Harold or Kaylee or Azad or I can't keep up with all the project managers that we have. Nick, they'll go through and they'll train everybody and they'll just do a screen share so that you have like almost like an SOP that's delivered with the company that purchases it from you. And so that part is usually pretty straightforward. The AOF document holds all of the stuff that would need to be there, like in a sense of like, if we needed to change this, how would we do that? Right? Or if they needed something else built on top of it, now we have like a Lego piece set, like a Lego set, like we just do another AOF document. Typically at that point, we don't charge them for another AOF document. We probably could, I don't know. But what's it called? I gotta stop looking at the comments. I gotta look this way so that, because I get thrown off because I read it and I start thinking about that. So like I lost my train of thought. Now, if you do need customer support where there's like a person that has to help, we have a girl, Dia, in the group that she has her own customer support, like what's it called, group. And I dish my clients off to her. They buy like little blocks of time and she ends up helping them. Once I've done that, I've never heard anybody come back and say like, yeah, it's amazing, or like I have problems. Like just she must just handle it. So she charges, I want to say like, I don't know what it is. Now we just rolled out something really helpful for this inside Go High Level Mastery, where we had a VA program. And that VA program is you get 80 hours a month for specifically Go High Level support for your clients or for anything that you want to do too. So it's 80 hours a month. I want to say, I don't know the exact price. I don't know if Adam is still in here. He would know that. No, I don't see him in here. The VA program is 80 hours a month. And they can be your support person. So if you were to sell this, that could be like an upsell, right? I want to say it's like $600, $650 for 80 hours. I think it comes out to like $10 an hour or $8 an hour or something. And now you can sell that as an upsell. Like, here's the licensing fee for $397 and monthly support up to 80 hours is, $700 or whatever. And if you have 2 clients, I don't think someone's going to use 80 hours a month for a simple Go high level build. They're going to I don't know. I might be surprised, but that's how we handle the support. I'm just going through these questions. I mean, if you guys want to just take yourself off or just raise your hand on here
Nick,
too.
it
Yes, is
the
this
last
Pat?
time, yeah, it is. The last time I heard, the VA program is $650.
Okay. So 650. So 650 for 80 hours, which is like
I think this price was in June, and I don't know if they raised. It was for the early adapter, but maybe I'm wrong.
You're right, Anton. Yeah, I would think of that too because they may have changed the pricing by now, but it was $650.
Yeah, and maybe I'm wrong. Okay, just go at the
That's a
source.
Yeah, that's a question for Adam.
Even if it's 200 or 100 more, or I don't know, it's like
Yeah, it's worth it. Yeah,
Hey.
your client's gonna pay for it anyway. Kelly, I saw you raise your hand too. I don't know if you guys in Zoom, you can also raise your hand at the bottom, like put your hand up. Like,
I'm
go ahead.
curious. Is it possible maybe the next one you could kind of really walk somebody through setting up a Fiverr? I don't really have a Fiverr. Or is there a good YouTube that you would recommend following? Or is there something that you could recommend with regard to setting up a Fiverr? Now, setting up a Fiverr for what we do is not necessarily setting up a Fiverr for a VA or whatever. So because it's niche specific, I think that having a little more expertise and having your savvy could also be of benefit to everyone within the group. So, in my own heart of heart thought process, I just thought, having your je ne sais quoi could easily help us out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the way that I did it, I just went to YouTube and just said like, because my thing always is I don't try to reinvent the wheel and try to follow people that don't know what they're doing, right? Like, I don't know if any of you guys play tennis or golf or something, but if I wanted to learn how to play tennis, I probably wouldn't go to any of you guys to learn, or I'd go to like the golf course and find the golf pro, right? Like, I wouldn't take your advice on that. So, and no offense, maybe you guys are really, really good at golf or good at tennis. But like, I'd find like Serena Williams coach or, Tiger Woods' coach to go figure out how to do that. So when I do stuff like this, I'm not up to date with like the chain. Like, there's people out there on YouTube that know this stuff better than me. And so I'll just go and find their videos, and they probably have a whole channel of like how I made $10 million, being a freelancer on Upwork or on Fiverr. And I find that person, and then I'm just like, sometimes I don't even watch the video anymore. I just put it into ChatGPT and say, hey, I want to follow this way. Ask me the questions and put me up to be able to do that. And so, I mean, it's pretty, like, when I set up my Upwork profile, it's pretty straightforward. I don't have a Fiverr profile, so there you go. Like, I wouldn't make a video on that because I don't know anything about it. I assume that it's probably similar, like the same way Airbnb and VRBO, right? Or Airbnb and Expedia, like if you want to list your house. But I'm sure there's some nuances in there of like how the algorithm works, how quickly you respond affects where you're going to be shown in search results. Like, I don't know, do you have to have keywords in your thing for you to pop up in a search from a client? Like, those types of things. I would personally, like, I would suggest that you just look on YouTube to find that, because that's what I would do. Like, if I made a video, I would just be like, yeah, I watched this guy's video, go watch it.
Okay, what about like objections? Okay, so you have a client. What do you find are the biggest objections and how would you overcome them? Because what I realize is that not necessarily with the AOF, okay? It's with just anything with Go High Level, okay? My biggest challenge is overcoming objections because when they're like, oh, I already got there, I'm like, oh, okay. Because I am not good with rebuttal, let's just say. I mean, some people are. I'm just kind of not great at it, let's just say. Not today, but tomorrow I might be really great at it after a few classes with you, Nick. So, can you give us a few pointers with regard to objections? And maybe do you have any like a standard list of objections and how you really combat them and how to really um think outside the box when you have these objections to either steer around them or to kind of steer them in a different direction?
Yeah. So this is what if you guys are watching this on Facebook or here, like this is going to be important because this is how you close deals. And I'm glad that you asked this question. And we can keep it extremely simple. And the way to keep it simple is you acknowledge their objection. Okay, so I showed it in that one where the guy was like, you know, $8,100 is too expensive, right? So like it's too expensive. Then I like to tell a story, but I like to do it with something over here where they can't tell you whether or not it's real or like they can't argue with you about it. And then the third part of this framework is you come back with a question. And that question solidifies the objection that they asked. So an example would be, I don't know, can you give me an example, Kelly, of like, what's the most recent objection that you had?
Yeah, I already have a CRM and I'm really all of my people I have are already referrals. So there's no need to really, and again, this wasn't off of AOF because I only recently started following you to find out about an AOF. But it was really about learning about Go High Level and trying to sell it from a leads revitalization perspective. And their perspective was, well, all of my leads are referral based anyway, so I don't really have any. And the first thing I said to them was, so wow, that's great. So what you're telling me is everyone in your database are clients? That was my first spot. Okay. And they're like, no. And I'm like,
Okay.
all right, well, then there's opportunity to regain them as potential clients. Do you agree? And he's like, well, I never thought about it from that perspective, but they are referrals, so I wouldn't want to pressure them. And okay, and I'm like, that's all. Okay, and so what do? I cut it off at that point, but reality is I know I could have gone further by saying something, I don't know, maybe like, well, maybe it could have just been an open-ended, hey, just checking in with you. Just, having like just I don't want to say a lead revitalization, but a lead, open-ended. Hey, just checking in to see if you made any decisions or how's the family going?
We're gonna let the motherfucker speak.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I suck at this thing.
Stop talking.
Who's yelling? So, okay. This is a good example. So one, it sounds to me like you're trying to go through and sell this, so they might not know they have the problem, right? Which is fine in this example. They don't know, they might not know about Go High Level. They might not have that or have that understanding of what it is. So you, in the beginning, you said like, okay, it's a CRM system. And then, you made a point of you said like, well, do you think that this would be good so that you can get more clients, right? In those situations, you're asking a yes or no, so they have an easy out by saying no, and it shuts you away. So here's how I would say this, right? Is like the the rebuttal that you had in the beginning. You said that, oh well, we already have a CRM system, and all of our clients are referrals. So that's like a smokescreen. So in this little framework, you would acknowledge that, wow, you guys are already using a CRM. Well, that's awesome. That that shows me that you guys are taking your business like super serious, and you're really organized. It's funny because a lot of now this is the second part of this framework. So now you create something where they can't argue, they can't say yes, and they can't say no, because there's nothing that they can say, but they start to see themselves in this position. Okay. And then I'm going to get to the question. So you would say like, it's funny that you say that. I was just on a call a couple days ago, or, one of our best clients, however you want to say it, is like, they actually had a CRM system as well. And what they found out after we went through this thing, I wouldn't tell, I don't really tell the clients that it's an AOF document. I'm telling you guys this, but after we go through this activity, we got things organized, and there were some things that were missing there. And what was missing after the first 10 days of this amazing software that we connected to their CRM system, they saw $673,000 come in from the leads that they already had inside their database that they already had, which were basically referrals like you do. So now they start to see a connection there. And then now the question part would be like, if you guys could, I don't know, I'm just making this up. I don't know if $673,000 is a lot to them or if it's less or whatever, but if there was a way to connect your CRM system to something that you could start to see revenue coming from it, from the leads that you've already paid for, because I know you mentioned that you're doing Facebook ads or you're doing Instagram ads, or you get people through Google, your business page or the referrals. Would that be something that you would want to explore further? And so it's not combative, and they start to see like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Okay, so they see like, well, somebody else did that and he did that for them. And then it went from, no, I already have a CRM system, to all my stuff is referrals. And then the question I asked, like, if you already have that, would you be open to exploring that further to see if we could just make money appear for you out of nowhere like we did for the other company? There's no way anybody would say no. Now, in your example, you mentioned you did it very salesy, and it's okay. You're like, well, do you see how that could work if we were to do that? Yes. And that's a yes or no question. So there, and there was another one that you said in your example, and I don't know if you said this in real life or if you did, but you want to stay away from like almost like a combative of like, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I do, because it puts up their guard, and it gets them to be like, who the hell is this lady? Like, she knows nothing about this. I'm done with this conversation. Like, and it gets you upset, and it gets them upset. And then you hang up the call and you're like, that lady didn't know anything. Or that guy, he's such an asshole. Like, he's an idiot. Good luck with your company. Right? Good luck. I know that everybody knows what we're talking about. We're talking about missed call, text back. Like, that's a very powerful thing in a business to be used. But if you don't say it the proper way, or you lead in like, oh, all these phone calls that you're missing, we can make that money. And they're like, how does this lady even know what I'm talking about? How did she? Yeah, maybe we are missing calls, but I pay someone to answer those calls, and we have $1 million a year business. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's selling this for, $200 a month. What the hell does she think? Right? And so in this example that I'm talking about is like, you'd go to that framework again, is like acknowledge, like, oh, so you guys are missing calls. I mean, dude, I just missed like 4 phone calls while we're on this meeting. I get it. I mean, that could have been $1 million deal. So I understand that everybody misses calls and everybody
How
has,
do you segue this into an AOF? That's the question. How do I segue this all into an AOF, knowing, in his words, these are his words, 60% of his current insurance sales are referral based, 40% are not. Okay. They are people that come in and they decide not to buy from him, one. And I know that there are true opportunities within his own organization, but how do you segue that into, hey, well, how about I do XYZ for you? Like, how's that segue? I don't really understand. I'm not a salesperson, never have been, and I can't sell something that I sell this because I believe in it. I know it works, and but
Yeah.
because I'm not a sales person, I don't know how to do that.
I know, and that's what these calls are for. So I'm glad we're going through this. This is important too. Before we move forward, I want to make sure, does everybody understand what I just said through that acknowledge, like tell a story and then re-ask a question? Okay. So how do you segue through this? If you've ever seen a magician, the magician is just doing little sleight of hand and getting you to choose their. She left. She asked the question and left. No, she can still hear me. I know you can, Kelly. I'm just joking. So, the magician makes you choose the card, makes you choose where the ball is located. They do something, right? So you want to be that magician. In your example, the guy is saying 60% of my business comes from referral, 40% comes from new business. So you, instead of trying to sell them something, just ask them a question. Which one do you like more? Which one do you make more money from? He might say, well, if we really break it down, 40% of my business, I would make more money from it because I don't have to pay out a commission or like a finder's fee or an affiliate to the person that did that, right? I'm making it up. I don't know if that's how it works. So you'd be like, so if your 60% is working over here, what are you doing to do this 40% over here if you're making more money? That help me understand that. Then he's going to start telling you the problems. And so you just keep asking these questions and you're just like, so he or she might say, well, our corporate office does most of that. Okay. So what do? They send it to you? Cool. What's the average checkout? Like, what's the average price that someone buys? Let's just say it's a $10,000 policy and he makes $1,000. Cool. So if you have, you and I both would agree that you have 60% of your business coming from the referrals, and that's kind of easy because it's friends, family, people this, that, and the other thing, and it's easy. 40% comes from over here, but you're making more money, but the corporate structure, the umbrella, like, I don't know, Nationwide or whoever they
Okay,
work for.
40%. Okay, so let me just give you a higher level. 60% of his business is 8 layers deep. It's your brother, your uncle, your neighbor, your pool guy. It's layers, 8 layers deep. It's insurance people by referral. The 40% are your cousin who really couldn't afford it, your mother who's, on Social Security and really doesn't have the energy or budget or what have you. It's like, it's those 40% that he hasn't been able to tap into that ultimately could probably use it because people's situations change. Like, I might have won the lottery this week and
You
it happened,
just
right?
you just said it. So you always want to get them into a question where they have to choose a route to go. And each question always lets them choose a route for them to go because they're starting to tell you, and you obviously have to pay attention and remember what they're saying. So in your example, the 40%, yeah, things change. How are you staying on top of but you want to quantify everything. You have to quantify, and sales is because then they'll start to see the value of what it's worth. And so when you say, when you ask the guy, you have to find out, like, what's the average checkout? It's 10,000. How much do you make from that? And you don't have to share it with me, but you can make up numbers, right? So sometimes people won't share their commissions. So you'll say, like, okay, let's just say it's 10,000. Do you make $1,000 commission? Yes or no, it doesn't matter. Just use it for this example, right? So they're like, yeah. But in their mind, they're thinking, well, I really make 5,000. So you and I don't need to know in a sales call because they might not want to share it, right? So you want to get them into a situation where they see in their mind, for every 10,000, I make 1,000. But the problem is that you're not following up with this person and things change. So you go through all of these questions and you ask them and you quantify it. And then you say, well, if you already have the 60% worked out, it sounds to me like if you had 10 phone calls and you're telling me that you closed 3, that's $3,000 a week that you could be making based off what you're telling me. And so now he's like, okay, how would we do that? And this is where you segue the AOF document.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. So quick challenge, just segue.
So when you sell this stuff, you never have to say anything about go high level, about AI chatbots, about any of that, because the first call is just to get them on a call to pay $500 for the AOF document. So you say, well, look, in this situation, it looks like the gap here is that you're doing great with the 60% of people over here, but the 40%, based off our conversation and my math, my chicken scratch math, you're missing about $3,000 a week based on the conversation. I'm just making it up, whatever the quantifying number is. And so that's $3,000 a week. That's $12,000 a month. That's $144,000 a year in just little stuff. And what you're doing, so you're basically moving your 40% over to your 60%, because if it's 8 layers deep, I can't even do the math, dude. Like, I don't even know. That's a lot of money. And he's going to be like, yeah, that is a lot of money. Okay, wow. I didn't even know I had this problem over here on this side because my business has been running great. And so now the segue is, look, I don't really know everything there is to know about insurance, but what I do know is I know how to automate this stuff and I know how to make your daily life easier. So remember when you were telling me that you can't keep up and you have all these calendar things and sometimes you miss these calls? That's missed opportunity. But what I can do is we can get organized to where I know that you have probably in your head, like when you're taking a shower or when you're sitting at dinner with your kids or you're driving your kids to school or you're sitting at the conference table with your coworkers, like there's this, man, I wish I had, or I wish this could do this, or I wish something. I help you build that to-do and wish list. And what I call it is an automated operations framework. I call it a project scope document. I call it a proposal. I call it whatever it is. And when we build this out, this allows you to know where to start and how to get an extra $12,000 a month coming in from the people that you're already working with. And they're like, okay. And then you just walk through what the AOF document does. You don't need to mention anything about go high level. You don't need to mention anything about AI. You don't need to mention anything about really anything of that. You pull up the AOF document and you say, look, if you've ever worked with a system, whether it's a CRM system or a project management software or Trello or ClickUp or what, like now you have to talk their language. So you have to use something that they know how to use. It's like, there's buttons, there's things that you have to click, there's things that work on the back end. In this, what we will do is we'll create what we call a pipeline stage and a workflow. Whatever your customer journey pipeline is, and this is now you start to talk their language. It's like when someone calls you and you have a meeting, you send them a contract, and that contract is probably handled by your insurance company or whatever. But like you have these different sections of from the time that they called you or contacted you to the time that they pull out their wallet and pay you, and then also the next year for their renewal. All of that stuff is the same thing. We just build the same thing that you have currently just for your sales process, and we automate it. And it starts with this. And each one of these pipeline stages has a workflow. What needs to happen once you have a phone call? What needs to happen when the guy says, hey, can you follow up with me in 6 months? Can you follow up with me in 2 weeks? Hey, I need to have my wife with me because we got to make this decision together. You have a full day. That all can be automated. And so that's how we get you an extra $12,000 a month. What I ask is that we build this out because all of my successful clients, the one that I actually just told you about, where we did 673,000 in 10 days, we went through this same process. And I charged $500 to do it And what this allows me to do is come to you and tell you how much it would cost to get you that $12,000 every single month, or that 144. Based on this, since you're 8 layers deep, I think it's more than $12,000, but I'm just thinking like conservatively, like you're going to be able to make, more than that because of the 8 layers over time. It's going to stack and it's going to, compound with your referrals. So we're basically taking your 40% of people, moving them over to the 60% over time in an automated fashion. And it all starts here. So what I'll do is I'll send you my calendar, and then you can just, there'll be a link right there. You pay $500. I'm going to be able to go through this. We'll be on a call for about 45 minutes. I'll go through it. Me and my team will come back to you in about 4 or 5 days. It takes us about 8 or 9 hours to go through this because we really dive deep and we really understand your business based off of what we're going to discuss on the next call. So, and here's the thing, Mr. Client, I know you're busy. This isn't for everybody, but when we sit down and we go through this, you will have the full-on game plan for your business to make $12,000 a month in just missed revenue from what we discussed. I'm not going to follow up with you. I don't do that. I'm going to send you this link. I'll send you an email on, it's 4th of July weekend. I'll send it to you on the 10th. If I don't hear back from you, I'm going to assume that you are not interested in making $12,000 extra a month based off this conversation. And I hope you have a great 4th of July. Is your email blah, blah, blah. Shoot it over to you. That's how I segue that. And once you have that number, that quantifying number, we did 12,000 because I don't know what the math was, but once you have that number, that is the only number that they remember in their mind. And if they aren't lying to you, they will make $12,000 a month. Like, it's not your job to make them 12,000, but through the questioning, that's where they told you, like, yeah, if I had this, I see myself conservatively making $12,000. Like, they told you that. You didn't make that up. I mean, I did in this example, but you want to make sure that you're asking the right questions to get those numbers. And if they're not truthful with you, like if they're like, I'm not going to share my commissions. Like, don't try to, you want to quantify it, but you can also make numbers up. Like, you could just say like, okay, let's say 10 people called, or it's $10,000, like, what are they called? Policies. And you make $1,000 per. We'll just use that as an example, right? So they can do the quick math in their head. If they're making $500 off of 10 meetings, they can just cut it in half, right? So you can just make that, because at the end, if the number was 12,000, they can do the numbers. They're like, okay, it's really 6,000. I'm not going to tell this random person over the phone what my commissions are. Sometimes they will. Sometimes, like, they'll tell you, like a roofing company, we charge $25,000 for a roof, and I'm like, all right, what's your profit? And they don't tell you, but I'm like, all right, well, let's just say you walk away with $6,000 profit from each one. Like, I don't care what it is, just for this example. And so now you got them out, but in their mind, they know the real numbers. And so when they get to the final number of like, we're going to make you $12,000 a month, whatever their real number is, they already have it in their head because they can do the math quick and be like, wow, okay, wow, that's an extra, even if it's less or even if it's more. And I always try to go conservative of like real world, because then in this example, I'm like, well, if it's layered, you're going to get more referrals. You're going to move them over here. That's even more. So my math, I don't even know. That's like compounding, and that's probably even more money. And then they're like, wow, yeah, wow, I didn't think about that. So that's how I segue it. I don't know if that's
I kind of have a follow-up question based on a lot of what you've said. I mean, what you've said is spot on, but I wanted to just do like a quick recap on the flow. So
sure. While you're speaking, I'm just gonna get up and turn this air conditioning on while you're speaking, but I can hear you.
okay, so whatever the lead generation process is, basically what you said is I've acquired a conversation with someone, and then I'm talking to them, but ultimately what I'm trying to achieve is to secure that 45 minutes paid at a $500 ticket for the AOS document.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Now, what I'm trying to understand in the flow is this conversation you were just hypothetically going through is not the paid session. It's just warming them up to understand that you need to go through the AOF. Now, this scheduler session, which is the 45 minutes, does that 45 minutes then lead into the 8-hour deep work of producing the
Yeah. So inside Go High Level Mastery in our group, if you go and sell the $500 AOF document, right? So maybe everybody doesn't know what Go High Level Mastery does or fulfills. We have a fulfillment team. Adam was on this call just in the beginning of this call. We go through and we are your whole back end team that builds all of this out, right? And so if you were to join this Go High Level Mastery, I need to think of a new word. It's not a membership. It's not a coaching program. It's not any of that. It's just literally a fractional development team that you pay $1,000 a month for a team of 17 people to do all of the work. Like it's not a guru course. It's not a like a coaching program. It's like, I mean, Antoine's in there. Who else is in here?
Class. Hey, it's a world class back office with a lot of knowledge. And I'm like Nick. I don't like those kind of guru thing, and sometimes I can get a nice information, but damn,
It's a team of developers. Like Kathy's in there, James is in there. If this is the same Kimberly that I think it is, she's about to join because she's been going out and selling this stuff. I'm looking at all the people on here.
Yeah, what I'm using is like I do my little build myself and my little client, but when I have like a big client, like e-commerce client, database, with the AI and everything, and I really, if I know how to do it, it's gonna take a year to build this. So now I have a team, so can jump on the back, do the the management and everything. So I'm adding more cash. So I do my little build and I have like the big client. So for me, it's like, it's gold.
So to answer your question, one second, Kathy. So to answer your question, Benga, is the AOF document, if you're in this group, you don't have to actually do the AOF, right? Because it's important for Adam, Brandon, and the team to make sure that every single thing is crystal clear before we present this back to the client. And the reason why is because you're not going to be the one that's building it. So let the team that is going to build it organize it based off of your call with that client, right? Because Adam and Brendan need to come up with a price to give to us so that you can go back and sell it to the client, but they need to know what they're getting themselves into. And it's just like, you have to, you can't build a house without knowing the size of the bedroom and the size. Like that's what the AOF document does. So if you're not in the group, then yeah, you got to go and sell it. And then you got to do it yourself. Right. And then you'd also probably have to build out the entire, whatever it is, the build that they need. With the Go High Level Mastery program is like, you don't need to do all of that because, who was it in the beginning? I think it was Matt in the beginning. Some people turn their cameras on. Matt in the beginning was like, I have the fulfillment team, but like, I'd have to go back and rebuild the fulfillment team and a whole team. That's like a whole other business in itself, just within your business, is like finding the right people to do all of this. So that's why this isn't like it's not a coaching program. Like it's literally, you're paying $1,000 a month for employees to do the work for you, right? It's like your team, you're white labeling a team. And so that's when you're in the group, you just have your quick 5 to 20 minute qualifying call to sell the AOF document. The second phone call or the Zoom call is actually building out that AOF document in a structured way of like just asking the right questions and thinking of like, okay, here's the pipeline stages. This is the customer journey. What needs to happen in this stage? What needs to happen in this stage? Oh, you need a calendar. Oh, we need payment. Oh, you want some API connected to ClickUp because you use that as project management, like whatever the things that they use or need connected or whatever. Then you send that recording that, whether it's a Fathom recording or like the Zoom recording or whatever, into a ticketing system within our Go High Level Mastery group. You wait maybe 3, 4, 5 days at most for one of the project managers to go back, watch that video and organize it. They send you the document back, and then you schedule a call with your client, because the client, they paid $500 for it. So they're like excited. Most of the time they'll be like, "Hey, where's my thing ready?" Like, you don't have to follow up with them. They're the one following up because they got skin in the game and they paid for it, so they want to see it. So you schedule your third call, and that third call is the same as what, like, I'll use the one that we use for Kelly, for example, is like, "Hey, Mr. Client, guess what? Everything is done. I want to go through this, and I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. The reason why we built this is because we want to capture $12,000 a month in extra revenue for you. That's the whole reason why we made this AOF doc. Okay. Are we still on the same page? Or does the $12,000 a month still seem feasible? Because if not, maybe we got to go back and change it, or maybe it's more, maybe it's less, right? So you want to quantify it right from the beginning, because when you get to the bottom, when they see the price, they're like, "Oh, this costs $22,000. So in 2 months, it pays for itself." Like, it doesn't need to be a surprise. And then that third phone call is you just go through and you just say, "Okay, when this happens, this is what happens," and you just go through that AOF document. And at the end, you tell them, "Okay, it's going to be a week. We're going to get together. We're going to gather all the information. Maybe we need your logo. We need your email. We need to connect your calendar. We need to do this, whatever. It's going to take us 6 weeks to build it. This obviously can go faster. If you take a long time to get back to us, or you miss a Zoom call or something like that, obviously it's going to move it out a little bit. The third thing is, like, we're going to test it for a week. We're going to try to break it. And then the fourth week or the 7th week or whatever the numbers are, the time frame is, the milestones. The next one is going to be, we're going to train you. We're going to give you all the SOPs, and then we deliver it. And if you need anything else built along the way, we can always just add on to this AOF document. But here's your blueprint. It costs $12,000. What are your thoughts? And they're going to sit there and they're going to be like, "Well, yeah, that seems a little expensive, but now that you're saying it, like $12,000, that's going to make it back in a month. I think that's an investment in myself. I think that's an investment in my company." Where they're going to be like, $12,000. Wow. I thought it was going to be way more. And I'm like, damn, I should have charged 20,000, you know? And so that's really what it is. That's the process. And so the main thing is like, there's no reason for you to pay $1,000 if you don't have these AOF document meetings set up. Like, and my challenge to you guys is, like, go out, get 10 people to pay you. Like, last week, Kenzel sold 3 of these and he made 1,500. Somebody else, this guy Richard, he messaged us in the group. Like, they're making $1,500 a week just by selling these documents. And when I used to sell Go High Level Mastery to join the group, people are like, "Oh, I don't have $1,000 a month to sell." Well, this allows you to have $1,500 a week if you just get good at just having a conversation with somebody to buy a 45-minute meeting and build out what it is that they need. And so now you're making, this is the McDonald's method, is like, you're making $1,500 a week by selling this AOF document, and you just so happen to be able to fulfill it on the back end. And then you're selling a $20,000 deal and keeping up to 30% of it, plus the monthly recurring revenue and things like that. So your main business is, why would I try to go build and sell Go High Level when I could just when I can bill for the consultation on how it's done, and separate myself from all the other Go High Level experts that are sitting in Reddit forums and Upwork and all of that. You've positioned yourself as a consultant. And like I showed you on the Upwork thing, is the guy had a problem with $8,100. He didn't have a problem after I consulted with him. And now I think it's like $5,200 or $5,600 that we're going to upsell him. And it went from 8,100 plus another 5,600. What he told me, he had no money and he was scared of being burnt. That doesn't happen unless you go through this process.
I wanted to ask, what would you consider the turnaround time for an AOF delivery? So for instance, let's assume that, like you said, there's no $1,000 isn't available to pay for GHL mastery. What I hear you say is that get good at selling it, right? And you've made basically the money to pay for GHL mastery, right? Now,
Yep.
so question then becomes, if for instance I go out tomorrow and I sell an AOF meeting, like 3 of them, right? What would be the turnaround time? I would tell that customer and say, look, okay, now that we have this session done and I've captured all the information necessary to create your AOF document, I will get it to you in a week. I will get it to you in 10 days, or is it I will get it to you in 48 hours? What have you seen historically has been an ideal turnaround time to present to a customer?
Yeah, I just keep it open. Like, look, I mean, we went through a lot today, and I got to send this recording. We're going to sit down with my team. It usually takes about like 8 to 9 hours, but you know, we have a full team that's going to do this. I would say, you know, like today is what, I don't know, today is Thursday. I'd say by next Wednesday, well, we have 4th of July, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, because we don't know, right? But it usually takes anywhere between 3 and 5 working business days to get it done. But I don't like to set the expectation for that, because if I say, oh yeah, we'll get it to you by Tuesday, and then all of a sudden one of the PMs is sick, or I don't know, something happens,
Yeah.
then I just made this unnecessary expectation for no reason, and it makes me look bad. And I tell the people that, like, look, we have a full team of all of these of we're gonna go through and look at this video with my team. It takes about 8 to 9 hours. I gotta look at my schedule, but just give me a couple days and I'll get back to you. Like, you know, and just keep it at that. I don't set a timeline on it. I say usually it takes between 3 and 5 days. It might be done earlier, but I don't want to promise you anything. We'll get it done. And the reason why we take our time is because we want to make sure that we know your business. We want to get you to get that $12,000 a month. And we might have things that you didn't even think about that we could, like add in there that, yeah, yeah. So I keep it like that. I'm looking right now. We've been on this call for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I know Kathy had something that she was going to say. I hope that this is all super helpful for everybody that's coming to these every month. I mean, not every month, every week. I personally enjoy doing this. I love this, to be honest. So let me know if you guys like this. I assume that you guys do, because you just sat here for 2 hours listening to me talk. But
Solid session. The solid session.
Can I throw one thing, Nick? I don't know. Is Kelly still there?
yes,
she's still on.
She's on mute.
Okay. Okay. So, Nick knows it's kind of like the tortoise and hare with me. I was a successful sales rep just like Nick prior to both of our careers were in corporate sales. So when I was hearing her talk about the insurance agent, I don't know if you mind me sharing, Nick, but one thing that you stressed to me when we first met is not every client is your client. And
Yeah.
it's not about when you first meet someone, and I think Kenzel would agree to this too, you're dequalifying them before you even get into a discussion with them. Because a person that, and back in the day, I sold yellow pages, and the number one person I would bounce from is someone that said, I already deal with referral only, because they're not investing money into getting their leads. If they're not investing money into getting their leads, they're not going to understand what they're losing a lot of times. So that was just something I wanted to share. You're amazing.
That's a great point. That's a great
It's
point,
just,
Kathy.
it's just when it comes to, like, I've been with Nick for a year, and one of the things is that I'm learning around all these amazing people that you have in the group and in our mastermind group is you're finding a certain type of client. Not every client is a fit for database reactivation. missed call text back. If you have someone that they're spending $100 a lead and they have 10 leads coming in and they're missing 5 of them, that means they're missing $500. So then that's their pain point, right, Nick? And you really taught me how to hang on to a person's pain points rather than trying to sell them something, because then you're trying to help them. You're not trying to sell them. And like when you first, one of the first things you used to say, Nick, is the first way to sell Go High Level is by not selling Go High Level. You're remember? I'm like, he has to say that tonight, but you're on a roll. It's about looking at what is their pain. It sounds like the guy that she's hanging on to is not in pain. And out of a million insurance reps out there, maybe it's time to shuffle to someone that is in pain. Because there's a rep out there paying $25 to $100 per lead. I was an insurance rep. So they're paying $20 or more in leads, or they're paying in live transfers, and they may have a database of just 1,000 leads a week coming in from what they're paying. And that's a person that a missed call text back or a database reactivation account would really benefit, not someone that is talking about their friends and the uncles and the aunts and the grandparents and Susie May around the corner. So I just want to throw that in there, because it's a lot of energy to sell, and you want to put your energy where the money is, not where the money isn't. That's one of the reasons why you show people Upwork and all that stuff. So I'll shut up. That's all I want to share.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for all your advice. I really appreciate your knowledge. And again, with zero knowledge of sales, I come from a corporate background as well, except for mine's in the gaming industry, working for a $1 billion corporation, working for the CEO. I come from a different aspect of corporate world, but this in particular client one, it's a quasi friend, so that kind of leads to a different love is that's what I could say. But what he's looking for, and I'm meeting him next week, he's looking for really in a specialty niche that he can use. And again, this is where maybe an AOF could be perfect when I roll into speaking with him next week to really analyze what he needs, because he's looking for re-engagement of these 40 people in a way that says, hey, just checking in on how the family's doing. I heard Bob got married, kind of thing, in a unique fashion or form, so that he can open up the re-engagement stage without actually having to pipeline sale to them, because they may be in that different stage of life. And so he's looking for a really unique pitch to them. On top
So
of
that would just be that would just be an AI chatbot that you would change the
Yes,
pricing
no,
for.
100%. That's why I said an AOF would be perfect for him to really evaluate everything that he needs when doing a deep dive into our full conversation on what he truly is looking for. Because I've had 2 conversations with him already. And as we were discussing, I gave him a high level on some of the things I thought he could really use. And he's like, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. And I gave him this week to kind of look through it, and I'm meeting with him next week.
Your next step is to get him to pull out his wallet and pay $500 for you to go through it.
Yes,
Because he said I'd go to segue.
Because, well, what happens is the sales will go stagnant if there's no like clear next
there's
step.
no
or
financial
clear-
commitment. It's just
and next, yeah, it'll just be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. No,
Yeah,
here's the idea. Pay $500 and we'll get this organized to really make this into a thing. So your next step would be, I mean, use the AOF documents in the group. What I would do is I'd probably delete the logo at the top, just so that the client doesn't see it. I don't know if they would care, but just go through and show them like, look, these are the ones that we built for other people. Look at it yourself before you go into it, and so that you understand, like, and you can use it as, hey, this is my team. My team, I wasn't personally on this build, but like, they don't need to know any of that. Just say that my team built this and we did this for whatever the companies that are in there for all of this. And this is what we're going to build for you. And the reasons why this is important is it's going to get you organized. You're going to be able to see exactly how this is going to work. And then it'll give me a price to come back to you and tell you exactly how we can build it.
Right. Hence the reason why I know he's looking for something unique, but that's why I want to kind of a segue, because I'm supposed to meet with him after the 4th of July. Man, I really didn't know how to do it. And you are so right, Catherine. Like, not every customer is your customer, and I'm learning that.
Yep.
But I just, like, everyone's supposed to be a friend, right?
Not everybody.
Not everyone.
Well, cool. I'm going to call it a night.
All right. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for
I
everybody
appreciate your
coming.
time, your efforts, and all your knowledge. It's very valued. We are so gratefully appreciative.
And if anybody wants to set up a meeting with myself to go through, if you have clients and stuff, like, obviously I want to get you guys in the Go High Level Mastery VIP program. Feel free to shoot me a DM or I don't know, get a hold of me. Like, find me. You can find me. And we can set up a meeting and we can go through kind of what that looks like. So, all right. Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys next week. Actually, you know what? Is next week the 10th? I think next week is the 10th. I'm traveling. Well, we'll figure it out. I'm traveling to, I'm not going to be able to do this next week because I'm traveling to Kentucky to go visit my family. So it'll have to be on the 17th. I'll put a note out for everybody, but I just thought of that right now. So, all right. Well, it was good talking to everybody. I'll see you guys
Thanks, Nick.
soon. All right. Take care.
Have some trip next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.